本当は誘ってほしいなんて思ってもなんかないそんなことまんざら全然ないさらにそれも一つの斜め透かしネゴシエーション
So I've never really been a fan of slice of life as a genre. It just never really did anything for me. But every now and then I decide to watch one as a sort of palate cleanser. I like to think of it like applying a bandage to all of the cuts made by the edge in my mind. It was with this mindset that I decided to watch Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out. Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out is a slice-of-life anime with aspects of comedy and romance thrown into it, in order to hide its true nature as a psychological thriller. By the end of its 12-episode run, I was left shaken to my core, questioning what it truly means to hang out. For the remainder of this review, I will refer to the series as its acronym. The premise of is pretty simple. A college student named Shinichi Sakurai is enjoying his quiet life until the day he encounters Hana Uzaki. I'm just always gonna mess up the pronunciation of that, so I'm just gonna call her Hana from now on. Anyway, Hana is one of his former underclassmen from high school. Hana decided to go to the same university as Sakurai and once again became his junior. At first, the two simply acknowledge the other's existence and head their separate ways, but after Hana takes notice that Sakurai seems to be living a quiet life of self-imposed isolation, she takes it upon herself to spend time with him because she thinks he's a massive loser. Sakurai, he's not a big fan of this. While the relationship between the two leading characters starts out strained, with Hana antagonizing Sakurai over his loner lifestyle, over time the two form a friendship of sorts as they bond over shared interests and begin to appreciate each other's general company. I feel that I should also mention that while there are occasionally moments that hint at a more romantic relationship between the two, the anime never really leans into that too hard, so this is a lot heavier on the comedy side than the romance of the whole rom-com thing. Speaking of comedy, this anime managed to get some laughs out of me. Most of the humor comes from the interactions between the two leads, their clashing personalities often leading them to criticize each other's lifestyles. Sakurai and Hana's interactions are also often misinterpreted in public settings, leading to a lot of misunderstandings by onlookers, and creating a general feeling of cringe at times. A lot of these public arguments will often paint Sakurai in a negative light, and I think that's funny too. Because he's just a dude, and he's a pretty decent guy, but every now and then he looks like the absolute worst. Fortunately, these verbal clashes never feel mean-spirited, and this keeps any real drama from dragging down the show's generally light-hearted atmosphere. While these interactions make up a bulk of the show, the evolving nature of Sakurai and Hana's relationship keeps things from getting stale. There are not many characters in and I actually really appreciate this. One of the things that turns me away from the slice of life genre is the inclusion of a bazillion characters. Which I get, they need to sell merchandise, but I don't have time to remember more than 3 characters in my anime, thank you very much. Starting off with Sakurai, we get an introverted college student who just wants to live a quiet life, maybe eat some sandwiches with his hand. I appreciate that this anime managed to have a decent amount of characterization for its main male lead, and also not characterize him as a generic basement goblin. A lot of introverts in anime I feel like are portrayed as massive neets that never go outside and have green nasty hair and look horrible with their weird child face on their buff adult man body, and I don't like it, and get Deku out of here. We don't need Deku anymore. Bakugo is the real hero. Good on you, Sakurai, for living your best life. Next up we have Hana Uzaki. Said it right that time. I said Uzaki, not Uzuki. Uzaki. Anyway, Hana comes off as the exact opposite of Sakurai. She is the kind of energetic character who is always saying what's on their mind and not afraid to make a big scene of things. Just like with Sakurai's character, Hana is also given layers, and as the show goes on, you get to see different sides of her as she grows her relationship with Sakurai and the other people. At her core, Hana Uzaki just wants to hang out though, and by doing so, she wants to make the lives of everyone around her just a little bit better. Aside from the two leading characters, the remaining people exist to mainly act as spectators to the whole Uzaki-Sakurai dynamic. Lastly, I would like to touch upon the presentation. This anime is pretty standard stuff, with nothing really standing out as groundbreaking nor as garbage. There was one episode where the gang takes a trip to Tottori, and the background seemed to look different. Almost like the animators traced over photographs. This was the only weird thing I noticed while watching, but it did have me saying, why's it gotta be that way? In conclusion, Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out is a fun slice-of-life anime that I would recommend to anyone who wants a nice, low-drama romantic comedy with more emphasis placed on the comedy. Thank you for checking out the review. If you could leave a like, I would enjoy that. Also, subscribe if you're interested in more anime content. This channel is also home to a weekly podcast and non-anime reviews. Hard to believe, I know. Anyway, you should check those out as well. This has been Assault on Anime, and it was nice hanging out, so try not to die.